This is Miss Lizzie, and I want to welcome you to the Queen Lizzie podcast. Together, we will go through the history of Rosewood, Florida, and watch as the once prosperous town rises out of the bloodshed, fire, and ash to reveal the people, the memory, and the legacy of Rosewood. Watch every Thursday on Facebook and YouTube, or listen to our story on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Hello, everybody. I am Lizzie Robinson Jenkins, representing not only the Rosewood Foundation, but the personal testimonies and history of cherished friends and family. You are now watching the Queen Lizzie podcast. Today, we are talking with Nick West. Hello, Nick West.
Hey, Lizzie. Thank you for having me on.
You are welcome, and this is number one, episode 133 today.
Right.
Yes. And Nick is from Archer, so he's my home boy. I know he's older than a boy, but he's my home older boy.
I don't mind being called a boy at my age. It pleases me. I haven't been carded in quite a while.
Well, we grew up on a farm. He grew up, it's a different farm, but we were farmers in Archer and had a wonderful life farming. And we can sit now, reminisce, and talk about the fun that we had on a farm and the values our family shared and a whole lot of other good stuff. But now we have finished college, served in different careers. You were in the service, I think you told me,
I was,
when you
yes.
left high school. You want to tell us a little about what you have done over the years?
Sure. I graduated from Gainesville High School. Lizzie and I were just discussing off air. Actually, when I went through high school, it was still segregated. I was in the service, serving on an aircraft carrier over in the Mediterranean, the USS Saratoga, after high school, and that's when Gainesville High School was integrated for the first time. In fact, a classmate of mine from high school has written a book about his experience or the experiences through that period of time. I was on an aircraft carrier. I came back. I earned some points to go to college, so I came back after I got out of the service and went to University of Florida, where I attended until my GI Bill ran out and my father's patience. Because he was waiting for me to come farm with him. And so if I had a liberal arts degree, I would have probably had a master's degree. But as it was, I couldn't make up my mind what I wanted to be when I grew up. Still not sure I've made up my mind what I want to be when I grow up. But life's what happens when you're trying to figure out what you're going to be when you grow up, and that's what happened with me. We had I farmed. My dad retired from farming. We owed quite a bit of money to the Federal Land Bank, and he was tired, and he wanted just to turn it over, and I said, no, I don't think we want to do that. So I helped him auction off some of the property and some of the land so that we could hang on to it. We still have about 80 acres out on Archer Road that we still run cattle on. And then after that, I have a landscaping business that I was kind of a spinoff from farming, because I enjoyed working out of doors. And so I did that. I retired from farming and from the landscape business about a year ago. And so now I'm in the series of writing, which has always been my passion. I wanted to be an author, spinning tales, and so that's what I do now full time.
And you do it quite well. We just had hosted a book signing this past Tuesday, last week, in Archer at the Historical Society, and we sold books. I had no idea I was going to be able to sell books, but I brought them up there and people bought our books. We didn't make a lot of money, but it's not about money. It's about getting the message out and talking about our livelihood. And you have written more books than I have. You have a series of books. And we're going to leave his website and my website so that you all can go online and purchase our books and then go back and look at our pictures again and say, oh, he's the guy that wrote this book. I mean, real interesting books, real interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we want you all to do that for us. Plus, I, you talked about integrating Gainesville High School. The young lady that integrated Gainesville High School, I was with her last week. She and Joel Buchanan, and her name is LaVon Wright Bracey. LaVon moved to Gainesville from St. Augustine, and her father was Reverend Wright, Thomas A. Wright. Reverend Wright taught me Bible survey when I was in college at St. Augustine. And he was also a civil rights mover and shaker. He was part of the civil rights movement in St. Augustine when we sat at the lunch counter. And I like to say we, however, I didn't actually sit. I was there. I was in the business of going to sit before President Johnson called it off, put a stop to it, ended it, because people were jailed and beaten. I was not. I was one of the lucky ones. However, I wish I had been jailed. I tell people this. If I had been jailed, I would have had a record to say, oh, Liz, you really did fight for civil rights. But I was not jailed, but I was just as involved. And back to farming in Archer. We didn't have a lot of money, did we?
No, but we had a lot of life, didn't we?
Yes, yes. And everybody were friends. And I remember my dad worked with, I don't know if you remember Mr. Watson. I can't think of his name on Archer Road. And they did tobacco, and we planted tobacco also. And I remember like it was yesterday. Daddy needed to borrow some money, or when he needed to borrow money. It was a handshake, no contract. We got along.
Yeah, everybody got along. You didn't lock your doors. In fact, I don't think our doors had any locks on them.
Exactly.
We had a dog that lived under the house that let us know if anybody was out in the yard. We could look out there and see whether we wanted them inside or not.
Exactly, exactly. And those were the good old days. And from that, my family was involved in the Rosewood massacre. Not really my family, my aunt. She was not involved. She became a part of, she really was a teacher from Archer, taught school in Rosewood. And in 19, when the Rosewood massacre happened, she survived and told her story to my mother. And my mother was old when she introduced the story to me and said, baby, you must research, authenticate, tell this story about Rosewood and what happened there, and you must never attack anyone, because the people today are not responsible for what happened in Rosewood. And that is the attitude I have. What I want to do is make sure we come together as human beings.
All right, I'm thrilled to be here with you for that reason, because we have both seen a lot of change in our life from the place we grew up, the town we grew up. I was blessed to grow up in a family that didn't display any racial prejudice. In fact, my dad reached out to help several people over the years that I can recall. But like I told you, Lizzie, when I was in school, it was just the trip towards integrating the schools was just getting rolling, really. And
Right.
When I graduated, it still hadn't taken effect. But the young man that I mentioned that wrote the book about it said that they were surprised that the rural schools seemed to take the integration much more peacefully and amicably than the ones in the city did. And that's because we all worked together. Young black boys and young white boys worked together on the farms during watermelon and tobacco peanut season,
Yes.
and everything else in those days. So we knew each other. We'd work side by side and enjoyed conversations and laughed and talked about girls and shared all of our hopes and dreams before that. So it made it a lot easier, I think, for the rural areas in a way to come together.
I agree.
So I'm real. And what you've done, you said that you wish you'd have been locked up so you could be prouder of your story. Well, what you've done with Rosewood is fantastic, and you should be very proud of representing your heritage that way.
Thank you. I am proud, but it's not easy. It's still painful. I did not want to, but my mom asked, no, she didn't ask, she ordered me to do the research and tell the truth. I didn't want to because I knew it would be a long journey, and it has been 42 years, and I'm still doing it. I do it now for the people, especially our children. Okay, I want our kids protected. Okay, I want them to know the history. It's okay if they know the hard, uncomfortable part, but hopefully that will, open their eyes to be more amenable and more friendly to people. And we don't need the hate. We don't need what is happening right now to our kids. Our kids are our future, okay? And we need to protect them. And whatever I can do to protect them and get this message out there positively, I do. And I told you my aunt was the school teacher. We do have a scholarship in her name that we give yearly, annually scholarships to 5 kids, $500. It may not seem like a lot of money, but to the kids, it's much. It's a
That's
lot.
right.
Yes. And it's for them. And I keep on keeping on with help from people like Steve Spurrier. Steve Spurrier has opened up this podcast room, and I am here weekly talking to people like you who can bring positive information for us to do better together as a community. And Meldon Law is part of the support system. Freddie Weeby is part of the support system. And Jerry Bennett, the director, president of Campus USA Credit Union. All of these people help, okay? And it means a lot to us in this community. And what I am also hoping, and it is happening, that Spurrier restaurant is recognized and patronized. And I'm so glad that you were able to come on and take part.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have missed it. Wouldn't have missed it. I appreciate you inviting me.
Yes, and you didn't hesitate to say, okay, sure, I'll do it.
Yeah, well, I think people need to have conversations. They need to exchange ideas, whether they agree with each other all the time or not. It used to be back in what I would call the good old days, politicians would make their promises and go to Washington, and then they'd get together and say, okay, you want this, I want this. We're both not going to get everything we want. Let's work out a deal. Now, there's so much vitriol and so much division until it doesn't seem like they can make any deals anymore. They act like spoiled kindergartners, and it distresses me greatly because I love this country, and this is not the way we were designed to work.
Exactly, and you are so right when you say they act like kindergartners or preschoolers.
Yeah.
Everybody wants what they want. It's not about the people anymore.
Maybe
It's
they
about
all need
power.
a good spanking.
Yeah. They took that out of school, right? We need to put it back in politics.
Yeah, maybe. I think I'd volunteer to lay a lick or two.
Same here. Right now, the people are not pleased with politics. And it's all about them. What about us? We're ready for to bring this country together.
Exactly.
Yes, and it's painful just looking. I don't watch the news as often as I used to. It's the same thing. Everybody's talking and no one is doing. Okay, so that's about time for our first half. We're going to head to a quick break, and we'll be right back after word from our sponsors.
I am Black History.
I am Rosewood Black History.
I am Florida
and America's Black History, and you are too.
January 1st, 1923, the KKK insurrectionists attacked Rosewood, killing 5, burning it down.
Because a white woman lied and cried, a black man assaulted me. Rosewood redevelopment is on its way.
Want to help? Visit rosewoodflorida.com.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, 2 things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Welcome back to Queen Lizzie Podcast, brought to you weekly from the Steve Spurrier Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We are here with Nick West. The Queen Lizzie Podcast is brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union, live from the Meldon Law Gator Studios at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. And we are back with my archer friend, author, and homeboy, Nick West. Thank you again, Nick, for taking the time out to come over and entertain us, and we can talk about politics and politicians and voting.
That's be a long conversation.
Hi. Yes, it would be a long conversation, but we were talking during the break that we are, as voters, and voting is very important. My mom would always tell me, what are you living for if you don't vote? So they taught us to vote, and I have been voting for 61 years, never miss. Currently, I am the precinct chair of 11 in Archer, but voting is important. When we vote, we want to vote for responsible people. And Nick, you were saying years ago, politicians become.
Yeah, Lizzie, you recall as I do that even down in Archer,
Yes.
everybody that was running for any of the offices, both federal, state, local, they would have these little get-togethers down there, and they would have barbecue, and everybody would stand up and make their speeches, and they would answer questions. And some of them were probably lying to us at the time, but at least they did it face to face. But the thing, and then what I call the good old days, not to make America great again, because we're still working on that. But in the good old days, these people would get elected, and they would go to Tallahassee or to Washington, and they would sit down somewhere in a room and smoke a cigar or have a drink or two, and they would talk about what each one of them wanted. And they would come up to some agreement to make a compromise, to work out a deal, so that each one got part of what they wanted, and neither one got everything they wanted. And that's the way this country was founded to work. And now there's so much vitriol and so much division and so much, frankly, magnifying glass on every person that goes up there who feel like they have to be dependent to that sliver of a minority that they feel like represents their point of view. And we used to say the tail was wagging the dog. Well, now sometimes it's the tail on the hair on the tail of the dog that's wagging the whole dog. And we just need to get back to where people would sit down and have a conversation like Lizzie and I are doing. And I guarantee you that we're not going to agree on everything we talk about, but we respect each other's opinion. Exactly. And we'd be willing to sit down and say, okay, what can we do to make it better?
Exactly.
And that's, of all things this country needs right now, it needs somebody with the gumption to get up there and say, I listened to a Democrat senator this morning that is willing to say, everything is not completely bad. These people are not Nazis. They just have a whole different attitude about how this country needs to be run. But what they need to do is they need to say it can't be my way or the highway. It has to be the American highway that we're all traveling on, and we have to be able to make compromises and keep this country moving forward instead of frankly regressing, which is what I feel like is happening right now.
I agree, and I could not have said it better, and I'm glad you, as my guest, said it for me. I agree 100% with you. We need to work together. We're not doing this. No one man is right about everything. It's not your country. It's our country.
Exactly.
You didn't build this country. We did. Before you were born, there were people out there working like hell to make this country what it was at one time. I'm sorry to have to say that, but I mean it. We are not doing what we should be doing for the people, and I'm one of the people. We are not doing what we need to be doing for our children. We need to invest in our kids, and they are first. And we need to get our act together. We definitely don't have it together. And we hope the politicians out there hear us. Stop it. Stop it. You are dealing with people. We have feelings. We have needs. Our kids. And I always say our kids. I'm a former school teacher, and I know how important kids are. They look to us. They look to not only their teachers, the parents, the community, to take care of them. We're not doing this. We are failing. And by the way, don't know if you have heard of David Jolly. I'm getting his name out there, and I don't have a problem with that. He's running for Florida governor. I have some concerns about what is happening in Florida. I met him, invited him to a birthday party that I held at Spurrier Gridiron Grill. Without hesitation, he said, "Oh yes, I'll come." Blew my mind. I wasn't expecting him to respond that way. Sure enough, he said, "When? Where?" And I told him. And I said, "Oh, he wanted to come to my party." He came. I said, "But you have to purchase your ticket. I'm not endorsing you." He said, "No problem." So he purchased his ticket. Guess what? I'm inviting him to be on my podcast show. A show like this. He has agreed. I want to hear, and I want you to hear, what he has to say to us in Florida, and if anybody else willing to listen, good. But I want you to know you are welcome to be on my podcast also. When I say you, if you are a politician and you are going to be working for the people, we need to hear your ideas, your plans. You may call me, go to find me on any of the 37 platforms, or at Queen Lizzie Podcast. You can find me there. Get in touch with me. I will not say no to you, but I'm not going to endorse you. So you can't say, "Oh, she invited David Holly, but she didn't invite me." You are welcome also. What do you think about that?
That's right. Be careful what you wish for, because she invites you on here. She's not going to toss you a softball. You better come in here prepared to answer the questions, and it will be recorded, so we'll know whether you're telling the truth or not.
That is right. We need our country back. And I don't know if back is the right word, but
I think it is back, Lizzie, that we need, because for 200 years this country moved forward. You and I saw a little sliver of it.
yes.
That things are so much better for all of us now than they were when you and I were 5 or 6 years old growing up. And we had such an opening, and this country is a miracle that it was founded the way it was, that we have a constitution that says all men and women are created equal.
Right.
And we're doing our best over the first 200 years to move toward that goal, and I think we have. And something happened. something happened here in the last few years that, and I blame it on the internet, to tell you the truth, a lot of it,
Yes.
because people now, these small minorities seem to have control over everything, and those of us like Lizzie and I that are out here that, you know, we work and we raise our families and we try to do the best we can to teach them the right thing to do. The old expression, raised right.
Exactly.
And that has no racial boundaries. And people that work hard in this country, that this country is founded on the backs of, are the ones right now that are feeling the pressure from the vitriol and the just the outright hatred that comes through every day, and we're tired of it. And
We are.
if somebody would come along, I don't care, Republican, Democrat, or Independent, doesn't make any difference to me.
Exactly.
But I'm looking for somebody to come along someday and say, this is enough of this.
Right.
We need to go back to having conversations with each other and working things out, and not just my way or the highway. That's not going to work. That's not the way this country was founded.
Exactly. And banning books, we're both authors. You don't have the right to ban our books. Okay. I know when I first wrote my last Rosewood book, I made sure I sent the governor a copy and a copy of Archer History. And I sent it also to President Biden. So I wasn't being partial. I sent it to the two men that were head of our state and the head of the country. Read. Don't ban our books. I don't care what the book says. A child growing up without books like I did in my house, okay, will learn to read something. I grew up, we couldn't afford books. We could not check books out from the library. My grandfather had a Bible that I have had rebound. We all learned to read from that Bible, which was the best teacher. And now when I go to church, I don't have to listen to the preacher talk. I already know the Bible. I remembered everything from a little girl and from schools when I was in Sunday school, BYPU. So we are really tired. We are tired of the division. We are tired. We got to bring this country together if it takes people like the two of us. I hope this lesson you have learned today is a starter for helping us.
Well, I'm there anytime. I'll join hands with you anytime, Lizzie, and anything we can do to help. It's got to start small, I guess, and build
Exactly.
up from there. And it's a worthy endeavor. And just like looking back on your history, if you forget your history, you're going to repeat it.
Exactly.
And I'm not for tearing down monuments. I think that they're all there for a reason, and they need to
Exactly.
be recalled, and you need to teach people what they all represent.
Exactly.
Not just ignore them and act like they never happened. That's like Taliban stuff.
Exactly, because if that monument is there, there is a purpose behind it. You may not agree with it or understand it, but there is a purpose. Somebody agreed with it.
Yep.
That was the purpose of putting it there.
Mhm,
So
exactly.
when y'all put up my monument in Archer, y'all better not tear it down later.
Well, I won't.
Oh, yes, indeed. And this our election, like I said, is something that's coming up, and we need to work together to make America better. And if you don't remember your history, my mom said, you must preserve history. And if you don't remember it, you will repeat it. And repeating it is not simple, it's not easy. Okay, so let's work together and do what we need to do to make sure Rosewood history. And by the way, I am networking with the Jewish Holocaust, and we are going to bring our history together so that we can remind people on what happened then. We are not going to tolerate it anymore. So on January 25th, I will be speaking in Miami at the Holocaust, and we are going to be the Jewish Holocaust, and we are going to be talking about history, uncomfortable history. Okay, Rosewood was small compared to the tragedy, that was done to the Jewish people. They're people. So
Well,
we are going to try to
Yeah,
bring it.
rosewood was a symptom of a disease that we all grew up surrounded by, and that's one thing that worries me so much about the vitriol now in politics is we're going back in that direction,
Yes.
and that's not a journey I want to take.
Same here. Same here. So together, I think we can slow it down if we don't stop it, get it out there, let people know. And I hope every politician is listening or is hearing me today. But guess what was so funny that happened to me over the weekend? I'm doing a Rosewood book cookbook. I got a message from New Mexico, the lady who is running for governor. Her name is Deb Haaland, I believe. She wrote me, don't know if she did, but somebody from her campaign wrote me and said to me, if you send me a donation, I will send you a recipe for your Rosewood cookbook. I thought that's exactly what I did, Zach. I thought that was, not Zach, Nick, I thought that was so funny. Here she is in New Mexico, and she ended it by saying, I have several recipes, and cooking and food is something, she didn't say something, that bring us together.
Yeah, true.
Okay? I thought
right.
that was interesting.
Yeah.
So I did give her a donation, very small, to let her know I was listening. And I heard her. Okay? And,
Well, at least you got something out of the deal.
Yeah.
That's one politician you got something
Yeah.
from.
yes. And, by the way, politicians, if you all have a recipe, send me your recipe, and I will put it in my book.
She might even send you $1.
I might even send you $1. And Nick has sent his recipe already, so I got his recipe. Okay, so we'll open the doors up to giving. And by the way, speaking of giving, donate to the Real Rosewood Foundation and help us build this museum in Archer. Okay, go to www.rosewoodflorida.com and click on the donate button. All right, okay. I am continuously humbled, honored, and blessed to meet people daily and invite them to join in peace building, healing, and reconciliation through learning about the history of Rosewood. That will wrap up today's episode, number 133. I am Queen Lizzie. Until next time, goodbye.